You are not wrong for feeling nervous. In fact, if you're not worried for the second leg, you have not been paying attention. Barcelona haven't reached a Champions League final since the MSN era, and now standing in their way is an Inter side that exposed every one of Barcelona's structural weaknesses in the first leg. The margin for error, it's gone. It's do or die, and it might come down to these three crucial decisions. I've covered this team through the darkest of rebuilds and the brightest revivals, and I've watched this squad evolve week by week. And I know where the cracks are forming and where the hope still lies. In this video, you will learn why Alejandro Balde is the Barcelona's most underrated loss heading into this leg, why Gavi must start no matter what, and how using 4 natural center backs might actually be the key for survival and reaching the final. Because sometimes the difference between a European final and another collapse, it isn't tactics, it's courage. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Of course, today we're going to be previewing the semi-final second leg between Inter and Barcelona. This is about Barcelona particularly, proving that it belongs at the level again. Because let's be honest, since the Bayern humiliation, no one has taken us seriously in Europe. And I'm talking no one. And now we are one game away from changing that. And here's my take. Inter aren't better than us, but they might be smarter. They played the first leg like a team that knew exactly what they were doing. And Barça, well, we looked like we were chasing ghosts in the first half and during some instances of that game. That has to change in the second leg. And it starts with who we put on the pitch. So in this video, we'll break down the best possible lineup that Hansi Flick can put out on Tuesday, the key players and duels that could decide everything, and of course, my prediction. And I'm not playing it safe. So let's start with the most obvious question. What went wrong in that first leg, and can it actually be fixed in one game? Before we look forward, we need to be honest with ourselves and analyze what happened at Montjuic in the first leg. Barca never really controlled the rhythm of the first game. Inter struck with intelligence. They overwhelmed our defender in set pieces and exploited Barcelona's, well, naivety in transition. Our high line was pretty much exposed for the entirety of the 90 minutes. And of course, the loss of Alejandro Balde was more than just speed out wide. It was verticality, width, and unpredictability all gone. The pace of Balde is key when it comes to attack, but so it is defensively. When it comes to recovering his position and catching forwards who beat the offside trap, he's pretty much one of the best players we can have at this role. Gerard Martin didn't stretch the pitch the same way and visibly look uncomfortable carrying the ball under pressure. We didn't just miss Alejandro Balde, we underestimated how much his absence would paralyze our transitions. I think just playing Gerard Martin was a mistake. We saw maybe that the gap between them wasn't that big, but it was. That's why Alejandro Balde is Barca's most underrated loss coming into the second leg. Not having him changes everything, and rumor has it that he won't be fit. So how do we stretch Inter's shape without Balde? How do we recover defensively without him? Is there a way to replace what he gives even if we can't replace who he is? The answer is maybe there is, but it comes with the most uncomfortable decision Hansi Flick has to make since maybe Bayern, you know? It's not just putting the best 11 on the pitch, it's about putting the right 11. And that means Gavi has to start for me no matter what. He's the only midfielder who thrives in chaos. And against Inter, who has a compact defense, we just do not need a passer, we need a fighter. De Jong and Pedri need protection, and Gavi gives you that and a little bit more. If Hansi Flick starts Olmo instead of Gavi, Barca might be out before the halftime. Because this isn't about elegance, this isn't about being the best team out there, it's about survival. My lineup is the following. It's Chesney, Ronald Araujo, Christensen, Cubarsí, Íñigo Martínez, all in the defense, 4 center backs. Pedri, De Jong, Gavi, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, and Rafinha. I think this is the lineup that we could see, and it's the lineup that I think could give us the win. And the reason why I say Christensen over Eric Garcia is that I think that Ronald Araujo just gives you so much more when it comes down to the corners, when it comes down to the set pieces. Christensen as well. Eric Garcia is such a good player that can come off the bench if we need to close the game out, if we need to perhaps just risk more players going forward, so he can be that sort of stopgap if we need him in the latter stages of the game, depending on how it goes. So that wild card, I prefer to have it on the bench. Ronald Araujo, I think he can just play like one of two positions, you know, center back, right back, so we know what he's gonna do. And I think he needs to start in front of all, and Christensen as well. So that would be the two players that I would put in. And I think that is why Christensen already played the first leg, then played Valladolid, and now might play this game. I think Hansi Flick identified that right away and said, no, I need him in my team ASAP. So I kind of want to put this question to you guys. Do you think that Flick will be brave enough to go with a lineup like this? You know, let go of the pretty and go pretty much with the rough? Or will he trust talent over edge and pay the price? I wanna know what you think he should do, because one thing is what we believe and the other one is what Flick believes could be the best to win the game. And I certainly think that going to the Giuseppe Meazza in Italy is gonna be war. It's gonna look ugly, and we need players that are ready to do that. And for me, Gavi is the main player in our team that does that. But even with the right players, the battle will be decided in 3 zones, you know? 3 key duels there are in this game. Up front, we have Lamine Yamal versus Çalhanoğlu or Carlos Augusto. And Carlos Augusto. Because as we saw in the first game, Inzaghi decided to put 2 players on Lamine Yamal, and even that wasn't enough. For me here, the speed mismatch is clear in favor of Lamine Yamal, but the physical mismatch is the one that really worries me. The number advantage, of course, is Inter is clear, and I believe it's the Brazilian that will play over Di Marco here, who had pretty much problems all around 24/7 against Lamine in the first leg. Later on in the midfield, we have Gavi versus Varela, and that's just a war waiting to happen because of the 2 players that they are. And in our box, I think Araujo versus Thuram and Íñigo versus Lautaro Martínez, those duels are going to be defining the games. You know, Araujo and Íñigo, because they're going to be the fullbacks. They're going to be the left back, the right back. That's a twist, you know. The twist is that the reason that why we must start with the 4 natural center backs is because they will target our flanks, and they will target second balls, crosses like they always do. And Íñigo and Araujo needs to be defenders first in this game. The width can wait. The strength that they possess in set pieces can help us a lot. And with him and Christensen, the much added height that the Danish bring to our team, I think it will be very much appreciated in corners. Like, that's something we were lacking so much in the first leg. And if we are just slightly more intelligent about how we defend our set pieces, I think would certainly be a closer to the final. You know, if Dani Olmo perhaps was not marking Dumfries for that third goal, if it was Christensen instead, the whole narrative, the whole story could be different. If we play only 2 natural center backs, I guarantee you we will concede. I mean, Koundé is a massive loss. Balde is a massive loss as well. What they give us in attack is way better than what perhaps Araujo and Íñigo can. But since we simply don't have those tools at our disposal, the next best players that could do a similar role, that would be Eddie Garcia, Héctor Ford, or Gerard Martin or Héctor Ford on the left side as well. The margin, the gap is just so big that I don't want to take that decision. You know, I think we need to change a little bit the tactical approach that we're gonna go defensively, if that's what's gonna happen. You know, I think we need to change it tactically because the gap is just too big. It's not really like even a tactical debate. It's just physics. It's just facts, you know. I'm not saying to sacrifice the attack, but it's clear for me that moments of magic in this game is what's going to take us to the final. You know, it's going to be Rafinha, it's going to be Ferran Torres even, it's going to be Lamine Yamal, it may be Lewandowski off the bench. 4 center backs for me is the way to win this kind of war. And let's go all out with them, please. Let's go all out. So here is where it gets, you know, real. I've gone back and forth with this result because I know what we're capable of, and this won't be pretty. This won't be tiki-taka. This won't be chaos. This won't be duels. There will be plenty of mistakes. If we get the lineup right, Gavi in, 4 defenders, stretch their block with Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, if we edge it just with those moments of magic that I mentioned, just barely, I think we can make it, you know? I think the result's going to be Barcelona 2, Inter 1. Not because we are better, but because we finally get it right. Because we finally get it. We finally get the idea of, you know what? We've done it before. There's been plenty of games like Atletico Madrid away from home at the Wanda Metropolitano, Copa del Rey second leg. This is a very similar situation. We are going to go forward and we're going to play our ass off and we're going to win because we know how, because we're struggling, because we're fighting, and because we're going to win the war. That's what's going to happen on Tuesday. So let me leave you with this. If we win this tie, is this a moment that Barcelona officially returns to the Europe's elite? Because I think It certainly is. I think the Champions League final is waiting for us with our name. And yeah, I'm just so excited to get there as soon as possible. See you guys after the breakdown, because my goodness, it's going to be a wild one. And let's wait and see what's going to happen in this game. Wait till you see what's going to happen in Arsenal versus PSG tomorrow, because I think that's also going to be a crazy one. And that breakdown is going to come out after this one as well. So it's going to be crazy scenes all around in this video, in this channel overall. Moments like this is why we live for as football fans, right? So see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao, guys.